Today, it's my pleasure to introduce you to our founder, Steve Scott, someone who's been a friend of mine now for about 16 years. I got to know Steve in the days where he was in the glutathione research space with a previous product. If you don't know Steve, if you've ever had a television in your life, you would have seen Total Gym with Chrissy Brinkley and Chuck Norris right around the world. Billions in sales. Steve was one of the most respected people in direct response television, and he came out of retirement to come and start Numi because of the breakthrough he's about to talk about today. So, Steve, if you want to unmute, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you. And welcome, everybody. Excuse me. I've been talking a lot today. Michael, who's handling the admitting of all the people that are wanting to, huh?
Yeah, I'm on it. All good.
Okay. So I don't have to worry about it, thankfully. Welcome, everybody. It's good to be with you today. And I know this particular call is all over the world, of which I'm very grateful. We're seeing such amazing things from everywhere in the world. And so my job today is to talk about glutathione, the science, the opportunity, the problems, and how we have a breakthrough technology that allows us to solve those problems like nobody has ever solved. I'm going to share a few things with you I haven't shared before, but I think you'll like them. And so let's start out real quick. What is glutathione? Glutathione is the most important molecule in life. It's just as important as oxygen. You can't live for really for 10 minutes without oxygen. You can't live for 10 minutes without glutathione. And so glutathione is this miracle molecule that's produced by almost every cell in your body. It's the first line of defense for your brain cells, your heart cells, your skin cells, for your lung cells, the lining of your lungs, the cells in the lining of the lungs, your muscle cells, your joint cells, your kidney cells. Every cell in your body relies on glutathione, and for a lot of things. Now, glutathione is the most studied molecule in medicinal science. There are currently over 184,700 published studies in PubMed, which is the United States government's storehouse or library of medical science. 184,000, yeah. 184, yeah, I think it's 180. It's either, it's 184, 700. The number two most studied molecule is vitamin C, and it's got less than half the studies. Why do I mention that? Because science only studies that which is of meaningful value, usually, unless they get government grants, and then they study ridiculous things. But in this case, medical science looks at glutathione. When I say medical science, I don't mean your doctors. I mean scientists. I mean medicinal chemists, pharmaceutical chemists, molecular biologists. And they study it because they realize that glutathione is just about the key to everything. It's the key to your health, the key to your immune system, the key to your performance physically, the key to your mental performance. It is the key to mental focus. It's the key to mental stamina. It's the key to physical stamina. It's the key to muscle output. It's the key to recovery from too much exercise. It's the key to recovery from illness, the key to your immune system. It's key to all those things. You think, how can one molecule be responsible for 400 independent, different functions in the human body? And it's the nature of the molecule. It is at the bedrock of life. Oxygen is our friend and our enemy. It's our friend because we can't live without it. It's our enemy because too much oxygen creates problems. You say, how can that be? Well, just put a piece of iron in some water and watch what happens when it oxidizes. It gets more oxygen than it can handle, and it rusts out. Anybody that lives in a humid climate in the winter, and you get a little salt and a little bit of oxygen and put them together on a car, and guess what? You get rust. And so Glutathione is critical for everything. In fact, Dr. Mehmet Oz is a Harvard heart surgeon, and I see somebody walking around. I wonder how I lose that because it's really distracting. Oh, now they're sitting down. And thank you, Jacqueline, for sitting down. There you go. Okay, oops, there goes Jacqueline. Now we got somebody else. I got all these pictures on my screen and motion distracts me. I'm the highest ADD, attention deficit disorder ever measured by the University of Utah. And so I am easily distracted, as you just found out. But anyway, going back to what glutathione is. So glutathione, Dr. Mehmet Oz, Harvard heart surgeon, and had his own TV show for a long time, but brilliant heart surgeon. He made this statement. He had a whole show that was dedicated to telling his audience what about glutathione. And as his guest, he had Dr. David Katz, who was the head of disease prevention at Yale University. And he opened the show with this statement. He said, glutathione, it's the most important antioxidant you've never heard of. It's what protects you from the diseases you fear the most. And I think it actually said it's what helps protect you from the diseases you fear the most. It's the cell's first line of defense. Anytime there's any bad thing happening to the cell, the first thing the cell looks to is, do we have any glutathione on board? Do we have enough to deal with this situation or that situation? It is literally the first line of defense. We're going to talk about some of the things that glutathione does, and then we're going to talk about the problem. The problem is our glutathione levels decline as we age. And guess when we start aging officially? Officially, we start aging at the age of 20. And that's when our glutathione levels, by the way, start to decline. They determined here in the United States, there was a very broad study, and they look at the 12 biomarkers that determine our biological age, not our chronological age. In other words, how old is your body acting? Is it acting like an 80-year-old when you're 50? Uh-oh, you're in trouble. Is it acting like a 20-year-old when you're 50? Oh man, you're going to live for a long time. Well, guess what? It is all determined by your levels of glutathione. And glutathione starts to decline at the age of 20. You are officially old. 8 of the 12 biomarkers, they said you start aging when those biomarkers start declining. But there comes a point where 8 of those biomarkers fall off the cliff. And when that happens, you're officially old age. Here in the United States, that they've determined that to be, are you ready for this? 27. So if you're under 27, you're not old yet. But if you're over 27, biologically, you're now old age. And you say, well, that's ridiculous. You really think so? In the United Kingdom, they've just completed a study of 104,000 young people. And by young people, it was ages, I believe it was ages 20 through 35. What they have discovered is that they are aging at a much faster rate than my generation and than the generation of most of you on this call. In fact, they are really into accelerated aging to the point to where all the diseases normally associated with ages 55, 60, 70, 75, those diseases are now starting to appear in young people at a much younger age, and they're becoming much more prolific. Cancer rates for younger people have increased by 17%. That's huge. You know, a 1 or 2% increase is considered alarming. 17% is shocking. And that's what's happened. This study just came out about 2 months ago. Okay, what causes aging? We're going to look at that. What causes accelerated aging? We're going to look at that. How does glutathione fit into it? Big time. So, glutathione, it's a tripeptide. That means it's 3 amino acids or peptides, sewn into one molecule. And the sewing process isn't with thread, it's an electrochemical process, a 100 sequential step process. One step out of sequence, and you're going to die because you desperately need glutathione just to get through the day. So that's what makes how your body makes glutathione. And it's made out of the peptides, the amino acids, L-cysteine, glycine, and glutamic acid. Now, the L-cysteine is what's in short supply. Your body can't get enough. Cysteine is breakable, and as soon as it hits the stomach, it's very fragile. It breaks, and it can't get into the cell. Glutathione, likewise, is very fragile. So if you go ahead and you can go buy glutathione capsules at any health food store, as soon as it hits your stomach, the molecule's broken and will never get into the cell. Yeah, but it says on the bottle. Don't pay attention to what it says on the bottle. That's irrelevant. What's relevant is biochemistry, and that's the biochemistry. Your stomach acid destroys it. However, to get around that, some people have surrounded the particle with a lipid, fat. They've encapsulated it in fat. Good news is that some of that will survive the stomach. The bad news is that the lipids leak. The lipids increase the size, the volumetric size of the particle, and that excludes it from a lot of cells. So it gets into some cells, but it doesn't get into every cell. And therefore, it's not what we would call a sustainable or a reliable source. But why do we even need glutathione? You know, you never heard it. Most doctors haven't heard it. I did a medical conference where I was a keynote speaker for an international conference of ear, nose, and throat specialists. And I was there. It was held in Cuba, and I was invited by the Cuban government to be the keynote speaker. So I went ahead, and Aaron and I went to Cuba, and there were about 400 doctors in the room, and ear, nose, and throat doctors. And I said, how many of you, and of course I've got a translator, one of our doctors was translating from our medical board, and he's Cuban. And I said, how many of you have heard of glutathione? 5 people raised their hand. Nobody else had heard of it. Most important molecule in life other than oxygen, and 5 people knew about it. My son, who is completing his final year in his fellowship for cardiothoracic surgery, he's a heart surgeon. He did his first transplant on Memorial Day all by himself. I mean, he's solo, not all by himself. He has a whole bunch of people in the room, but the attending physician, the attending surgeon didn't touch or make any suggestions. No communication whatsoever to Devin. He did it on his own. The other day, he put in a new aorta and a new valve into a heart on his own. That's pretty amazing for that little boy of mine that used to love playing with Legos. Now he's playing with human hearts. And but when he was in medical school, he did 4 years of medical school, 5 years of general surgery, and now he's got 3 years of heart surgery. When he was in medical school, he took a biochemistry course, and there was in his molecular biology course. In his molecular biology book, 1 paragraph on glutathione. Most important molecule in life other than oxygen. And there's 1 little paragraph. That's why most doctors don't know that much about glutathione. I had a doctor on the other day, and he got his PhD in biology in 1987. And he opened his introduction. There were a group of doctors on. He says, I got my PhD in biology in 1987. That's when I learned about glutathione. You don't have to sell me on glutathione. You know, I already know everything about it. Well, I said, wow, then did you know that there's no oxygen transfer without glutathione? And he goes, what? I said, yeah, when your body makes hemoglobin, it has the wrong it has the wrong polarity, electromagnetic polarity. And so it can't bind to oxygen. And the purpose of hemoglobin is to bind to oxygen and then deliver it to every cell in your body. Well, it can't do that. it has to be reduced to a +2. And the reduction agent, the only molecule in all of life that can make that reduction is glutathione. He goes, really? Well, it turns out here he was a PhD in biology and he didn't know that much. That's pretty important. Oxygen transfer. Okay. That's one function of 400. How does it affect your day? Now, I've talked so many times today. Have I already said this? How it affects your day, Michael? Have I said that?
Well, I'm actually, you're talking about previous sessions from today. I only woke up
No,
about an
today.
hour ago.
Anybody know? Phoebe, did I already talk about how it affects your day? Okay, good. Thank you. Phoebe always listens, and I appreciate that. I love Phoebe. So Phoebe said, okay, Camille Wright just advised me, no, and I love Camille Wright. I'm so glad we have the women on the call that pay attention. So anyway, how does it affect your day? It affects how you go through your day mentally. Are you alert and focused, or are you a little fuzzy? Are you alert and focused in the morning, but then the fuzz starts, and then you have lunch, and then the fuzz becomes really cloudy, and you're almost on all of that is affected by glutathione. How do you go through your day physically? Whew, it's a new day. Here we go. Or, oh crap, another day. I got to go to work. How you go through your day is highly dependent on glutathione. Physically, how you go through your day emotionally. How fast do you run out of gas mentally? How fast do you run out of gas physically? How fast does fatigue, physical and mental fatigue, start to set in? How fast do you recover from exercise? How fast do you recover from illness or injury? All of it is dependent on glutathione. And your glutathione and my glutathione declines every decade, starting at the age of 20. And the decline is anywhere from 8 to 15% per decade. So I'll be 76 in a few weeks. And my glutathione levels are less than 40% of what they were at the age of 20. That's a 60% drop. And yet the demand, the desperate need for glutathione by every cell in the body, the brain cell, the heart cells, the skin cells, the lung cells, the kidney cells, it all desperately needs glutathione to survive and thrive. And so let's talk about what else it does besides making oxygen transfer possible. Well, we all learned in the pandemic how important the immune system is. People with a robust immune response may have gotten sick, but they didn't die. They didn't end up on a ventilator. They went through it. They got through it. Now, 25% of people that went through COVID ended up being long haulers. That's 1 out of 4. And long hauler means you didn't go through it that well. Well, people with a robust immune system and a robust immune response went through it just fine. I was hospitalized, but I was never in what's called the cytokine storm. The cytokine storm is where this real rapid inflammation starts to take place in the lining of your lungs. And that rapid inflammation, your linings become so inflamed that they now become host to pneumonia. And it was the pneumonia that was killing people in the pandemic, okay? Now, how does glutathione affect that? Well, glutathione is the sole protector of your immune system. It is the sole protector of your immune cells, the T cells and the B cells. Whenever there's a viral or bacterial attack, your immune system goes into gear, says, how are we going to beat that sucker? How are we going to kill it before it kills us? And the assassins that are assigned to kill that bacteria or virus are primarily the T cells, secondarily the B cells. Well, the virus or bacteria is reproducing rapidly. And if your T cells and B cells reproduce slowly, guess who wins? The virus or the bacteria. So you get very sick, and then you get so sick, you may recover, but you don't recover like you were, or you may not recover at all. You may lose the battle because the T cells aren't reproducing fast enough. On the other hand, glutathione, if you have adequate supplies of glutathione, those T cells, man, they go into action and they rapidly reproduce. In fact, there's an article that came out. It's in the, you can write this down and look it up. It's a great article. And it's in the May 2020 edition of the Journal of Infectious Diseases, the ACS, American Chemical Society, Journal of Infectious Diseases. Now, you just Google the headline, which I'm going to give you, and it will come up. Google search it. The headline is, and you can see the abstract, and then you go right into the study. It's a brilliant study. The headline is, Low Levels of Endogenous Glutathione. Now, endogenous means the glutathione produced in your body, not the glutathione you put into your body. Low levels of endogenous glutathione as the cause, underlying cause, of severe symptoms and death in COVID-19 patients. In this article, he shows that it's the low levels of glutathione that allow these symptoms, these severe symptoms, to take place, and even death. It allows you to die because you have low glutathione levels. And he shows biochemically the links. It was brilliant. Now there's been additional studies that have done the same thing. So we know that glutathione is critical to our immune response. Everybody on this call is going to get sick. We haven't had our last illness, our last bacteria attack, unless we get killed in a car wreck. Maybe we'll get killed in a car wreck, then we won't get sick. But if we live long enough, we're going to get sick. How fast we recover, how sick we get, and how fast we recover will depend on how fast your T cells respond and begin to kill the bacterial virus that's causing the illness. Guess what? High glutathione levels, rapid response. Low glutathione levels, slow response. Okay, so the immune system. What else? Well, the mitochondrial DNA. There's a great microbiologist named Dr. Dean Jones at Emory University, and he wrote an article years ago before I even knew what glutathione was. And in that, it was not an article. It was actually an address before cancer prevention scientists that focus on cancer prevention. And he said that if we want to prevent cancer or increase prevention, we must find ways to raise glutathione levels in the cell. And he said, let me explain why. He said, what, at 95%, I'm quoting him verbatim right now, 95% of all cancers, 95% of all cancers gain traction in the human body because of the mitochondrial DNA. The mitochondrial DNA, when it's broken, allows the cell to mutate and multiply. So it instantly puts the cell at risk for cancer. He said, what breaks the mitochondrial DNA is the chemical load inside the cell. And glutathione is the only detoxifier of the cell that can lower the chemical load low enough to where it preserves and prolongs the integrity of the mitochondrial DNA. High levels of glutathione means lower levels of chemical toxins in the cell, means prolonging the integrity of the mitochondrial DNA. He said, left unchecked, the higher levels will ultimately break the mitochondrial DNA, or at least have the possibility of breaking the mitochondrial DNA, and that makes the cell vulnerable for mutation. And we know what that is. That's the big C word. Dr. Mehmet Oz, the great Harvard heart surgeon, I think I've already mentioned that. See, that's the problem with having too many Zoom calls in one day. We've mentioned that one, Michael shaking his head. Okay, so going back, your immune system, protecting the T cells to help prolong their integrity so the cells don't mutate. And now what else does it do? Well, here's what it's best known for, but people don't realize how big a deal this is. It is your body's master antioxidant. Why is that important? Well, our cells are attacked, and I have a picture. Michael, do you have that picture in the stadium?
No, that's the one you haven't given me.
Okay, I'm sorry. But next time you're in a big stadium, you should know how many people are there. The biggest basketball arena in the United States has 20,000 people in it. Well, just imagine all those people decide they want to kill you, and you're standing on the floor of the basketball courts, and they're all emptying the stands real quick to attack you. 20,000 against you. That's what our cells face every day of life, from the time we're born till the time we die. They're attacked by 10 to 20,000 free radicals a day. So in 5 days, they're attacked by 5 days, 100,000. Okay. So they're under attack. And what do free radicals do? They steal electrons from the cell. And when they're scavengers. And when that happens, when they steal that electron, it causes a reaction. And the reaction is called oxidative stress. The oxidative stress creates two huge problems for the cell. Number one, it causes inflammation. Inflammation is the gateway to every known disease. It not only allows disease to get into our body, inflammation does, but it accelerates the progress of disease. So inflammation is our mortal enemy. Well, it's caused by oxidative stress, and the oxidative stress is caused by the free radical depleting the cell of an electron, or in the case, 10,000 free radicals depleting it of 10,000 electrons, one cell. Now, you have 50 trillion cells, by the way. So how do antioxidants counter that? They donate an electron to the free radical, and when that donation takes place, the antioxidant sequesters or captures the free radical and neutralizes it. Okay. Now, here's the problem. There is a spectrum of free radicals. They have different compositions, different sources, different structures. Some are sourced from oxygen in our body, some are sourced from nitrogen, some are sourced from hydrogen. And so they have different sources, different structures, different compositions. All antioxidants except glutathione are monofocus. That means that they can take out one. Vitamin C will take out that one, but it leaves all of these bad guys. Vitamin E will take out that one and leave those. CoQ10, superoxide dismutase, catalase, vitamin A. So no one antioxidant can handle the free radical load. Glutathione, on the other hand, and here's why it's called the master antioxidant, and it's why it's our miracle molecule. It is like the master key of a hotel. I had one here earlier today. Here we go. I'll show it real fast. One of those keys that you put in the slot. And a master key, unlike a room key, can open every door in the hotel. Well, glutathione can capture, sequester, neutralize all free radicals, regardless of their source structure or their composition. So it's huge that way. Number two, it's 1,000,000 times more powerful, I've been told by a reliable source, than all of the other antioxidants combined. So it's the only antioxidant that can deal with all free radicals. There are new free radicals that our parents and grandparents didn't have to face. All those 5G antennae that are on the cell towers emit microwaves. When those microwaves enter our body, if they can react with the nitrogen in our body, and that creates a terrible free radical called peroxynitrite. Peroxynitrite is lives 1 billion times longer than oxygen-based free radicals. It lives so long it can actually move from one cell to the other cell. And guess what it attacks? The mitochondrial DNA. When that happens, it accelerates the aging of the cell. It puts inflammation in the cell. It can allow the cell to mutate. They're saying they're seeing a 17% increase in cancer rates with young people. What are young people glued to? Hello? Guess what's happening? I'm getting microwaves into my body. Guess what it's reacting with? The DNA. Breaks the DNA. Now I have a cell available for mutation. Who spends more time on cell phones, adults or teenagers and youth, under 35? Well, maybe that's part of the answer. Maybe not. I don't know. Just conjecturing here. And so how does glutathione is your body's master antioxidant, but it does something else. It's the only antioxidant that reloads itself. It recycles itself. See, antioxidants, once they dispense that electron to neutralize a free radical, the antioxidant is spent. It's done. It's just nothing but waste now in the cell. It's now useless. It has to be disposed of. And on the other hand, glutathione recycles itself. It's like a gun that can reload itself after it fires off its one and only bullet. Recycles, reloads, boom, reloads, boom. That's what glutathione does. Now, on top of that, glutathione can recycle vitamin C and vitamin E 3 to 5 times. So it makes it vitamin C and vitamin E 300% to 500% more effective if there's enough glutathione. If there's not enough glutathione, it will not recycle C and E. It'll still recycle itself. But if you're really low on glutathione levels, as many people are, it won't even allow the vitamin C or vitamin E into the cell. You're drinking all that orange juice for nothing if you have low glutathione levels. So all of that being the case, why don't we go buy glutathione? You can buy it at any health food store in nice little capsules. Problem is, hits the stomach, it breaks. It's too fragile. Can't get it through the stomach. Wrap it in a lipid, a fat. Now some of it will get through the stomach, some of it won't. But now the particle size is so big it can't get into most cells. You see, your cells are very tiny. The average human cell is only 100 nanometers. The porosity in the cell is only 10 nanometers. One strand of your hair, pull out a hair today, or you can look at the thickness of this typing paper. This typing paper is 100,000 nanometers thick. One strand of hair is 80,000 nanometers thick. The pores in your holes are only 10 nanometers. I mean, that's so tiny you can't even imagine. Well, you wrap something in fat, guess what? It's not going to get into that nice little hole. Goes right by the cell. It doesn't matter if it's, quote, bioavailable. It really isn't to most cells. Well, what have we done? We have miniaturized the particles to the point, and instead of wrapping them in a fat, we wrap them in a hydrogen oxygen, known as water, two oxygen molecules with one hydrogen molecule, that's water. We wrap them in a ultra pure, reorganized water molecule matrix, a little envelope made out of water, and it doesn't add to the size. Our particle size is small enough to get into that pore in the cell. That's why we see things nobody else sees, and we do. Now, we can't show you what it's doing in your liver, your brain, your heart. How many of you want to get older faster? You're not aging fast enough. Okay, then you need more glutathione. How many want your heart or your brain to age more rapidly than the rest of your body? See, nobody wants that. How about your immune system? You want that to age faster than you, so you're vulnerable to more illnesses and disease? No. The accelerated aging process is caused by oxidative stress, caused by free radicals. Glutathione is the #1 mitigator of oxidative stress in the human body. More glutathione, more mitigation, less oxidative stress, and on and on. We can't show you your liver, your heart, your brain, but guess what we can show you? We can show you what happens with the biggest organ, living organ of your body, and what happens to the tissues and the cells in your skin. And that's what we're going to show you right now. Michael, let's go to some of these quick before and afters for those that are guests on this call, please. Here we go. This was the very first before and after we collected. This was in 2018. She was 59 years old. I took our product and put it into spray bottles, and you can zoom in on that a little bit, Michael. I think. There you go. Thank you. And we said, spray your face 5 times a day for 8 weeks. Well, she sprayed for 7 weeks, and she was so excited she couldn't wait any longer. She was 59 years old, about to be 59, and she sent me that. Now, I've owned 5 cosmetic companies. I've done hundreds and hundreds of millions in sales in cosmetic companies. I had people like Cher on a skincare line, Christy Brinkley. Let's see, who else? Angie Dickinson, Meredith Baxter Burney, Ali McGraw, Lisa Hartman, Kathy Lee Gifford. I know skincare. And when I saw that, I thought, oh my goodness, we have the world's best skincare, because nothing else can do what you're looking at right now. Botox can't even do it. I sent it to my former chemical engineer that was president of the American Society of Cosmetic Chemists, cosmetic chemists, and he had become the head chemist for the company that created Botox. And as soon as he saw this picture, he called me and said, Steve, I hate to tell you, she's had a facelift. I said, John, no, she hasn't. She lives on a farm, works on a farm. No scalpel has ever touched her face. This isn't a trick that's going to change in a half hour after she puts it on. This is skincare, a new way to make skin better, healthier. And in her case, it was like a facelift. It was smoother, brighter. Now, by the way, you should write down a few words. Smoother, brighter, tighter, healthier looking, more even skin tone. Okay, all of that happens universally with this product. It's crazy. Notice how open her eyes are. And it's not because she tried to open them more. It's the skin has been stretched naturally. And we know what causes the tightening of skin, and it drops when you're 25 years old, ladies, which is why your skin starts to sag. But guess what? Give it enough glutathione, and evidently that substance that causes that sagginess, or that allows it, that's not in adequate supply. I won't use the word, but you can look it up. I know what it is. Evidently we're stimulating it, because that's what happened. Now let's look at a few more, just so you know this isn't a fluke. Here we go. Now this lady, look at the difference. That rash was from something, radon gas. She had had it for 7 months. She didn't even use our spray. She just swished. She swished our nutritional for 3 days, and it went away. Amazing. You think glutathione's amazing? Holy mackerel. Try nothing the doctors could come up with could do that. Next. This is where they get a lot of sun damage, 6 weeks of spraying and swishing. Next. Okay, this lady, she didn't have a skin problem, but look how much more even her skin tone is. Look how it's opened up her eyes. She has what we call the peaches and cream look. I owned a makeup company, and that's what you go for with makeup, but it's real hard to get. But she got it without makeup. Amazing. Next. Okay, there, that's obvious. You can see the difference in 6 weeks. Next. Okay, this lady, after 8 days, she couldn't wait any longer. She's an esthetician, owns her own skincare spa in Miami, Florida. She said, where did my pores go? Look at how smooth my skin is. Look how it opened up my eyes. She said, Steve, nothing in the world does this except this. Next. Okay, there, that's the hands of a 90, let's see, what is he? He's 84. Yeah, 80, now I'm mixed. Okay, he's 85. That's an 85-year-old Chinese man in Toronto, Canada. And he sprayed his hands for 40 days, and they went from looking like they were 85 to looking like maybe 35 or 45. Next. Okay, those dark circles are a problem from an issue she has had for years. She thought they'd never go away. 6 weeks of swishing and spraying, gone. Next. Okay, that's only 4 weeks, but you can already see the tightening and brightening of the skin. We always brighten. Now, that may not be important to you, but if you get into Asia or Africa, or Latin America, brightening is really important. And that's just a natural outcome of getting glutathione into the skin. Next. Okay, those are my hands, and you can tighten up on those. I can say anything about myself, so I'm going to tell you. Look at, I was 71 at the time. I sprayed my right hand, didn't spray my left hand, and you can see how much smoother the right hand is. Now, here's what's cool. I don't spray the bottom of my feet. And yet, just from swishing, the bottom of my feet have become very soft and smooth. Next. Okay, that one, you can see her skin tone is really nice and even without makeup. That's awesome. Next. This lady said the one problem, I love what it's doing for my skin, but everybody's asking me how I lost my weight because my face looks like I've lost weight. I haven't lost weight. It's just her skin is tighter, brighter, smoother, and that's a problem. People are going to think you not only look younger, they're going to think you look leaner. Okay, next, and then we got to go. Just keep going. I'm going to find one more to park on, and then we're going to end. You can see the evenness of the skin tone. Next. Few more. Next. This lady, you can see it mainly in the neck as well as the face, though. Next. These are 84 years old, these legs. Look at, they went from 84 to looking like they were maybe 34, 44. Next. And we're almost done. Okay, that's just, how many days was that? That was 7 days, and it already looks like a more even skin tone. Next. That was me at 71. And that I sprayed my face at that time for, I think, 7 weeks. Okay, I love this one, and this is where we'll end. I met this lady last year at our second birthday party, and she's 60 years old. And here, like Sherry, it looks like she had a facelift, but she didn't. Look at her after 6 months of use. It says 7, but it'll really be 6. Next. Go to the next. Here we go. That's after 6 months. When she told us she was 60, we couldn't believe it. Erin and I both thought she's maybe 40, 45 at the most. Look at the difference in the brightness, the tightness. It's crazy. Perfect, almost looks like perfect skin. Okay, so if it's doing that in your face, what do you think it's doing in your brain? What do you think it's doing? I know some of the things it's doing because we have a medical board that serves for free, and you're welcome to look them up. They're on your NUMMI website, and they're from Harvard, Stanford, Mayo Clinic, Texas Heart Institute. I mean, it is really the best of the best, and they all serve for free because they've all become evangelists for our breakthrough. This is a breakthrough nobody else in the world has. We manufacture in-house to keep our costs low, so we can do two things: keep the price low and pay what many have said are the most generous commission scale in the country, in the world. So that's what we have. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you'll talk to the person that invited you, and we love you. We hope if you're not a part of our NUMMI family, we hope you'll join us. This is a legacy business. What does that mean? It means that you're impacting lives to a degree that you're going to change families. You're going to change people's quality of life, their health, very possibly their longevity. You're going to really help them through, and you're going to change if they become a member. You can help change their economics. This year, it costs an American $12,000 more than it did last year just to buy the same things they bought last year. They need help. Most people need help economically. So we hope that that will happen for those of you that want to turn this into a business that shares with other people. When you change a family, you change a generation. When you change a generation, you change many generations. And all you have to do is share with the people you care about. And that starts the chain. We got one person in Omaha, Nebraska that shared with a lady in Canada who now has distributors on all 6 continents, thousands and thousands of distributors. And the girl in Omaha that shared with her, she now has impacted all of those lives, because if she had taken no for an answer, the lady told her no 8 times, but had she settled for that, there'd be thousands and thousands of people today that would not have the benefit of our breakthrough technology. Michael, back to you. Thank you so much. I'm late for dinner, so I got to get going.
We appreciate you, Steve. So for those that are on brand new, if you want to share this video with somebody else, go straight to the Numi official YouTube channel, and it is right there. We have 3 events every week. Steve on this day, and then next week in the USA, Northern Hemisphere, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Tuesday was one of our diamonds presenting. Wednesday is members night, and today is the event with Steve. So we look forward to seeing you all on the next events. Good morning, good afternoon.